Hey guys, welcome back to Jessen Reads Romance. I'm Jessen, and today we're going to be doing a vlog. Not just any vlog, we're going to be doing a hurricane vlog because, unfortunately, we live in South Louisiana. There was a tropical storm that just passed through. Nothing really happened. No unusual weather for us, thankfully, with Tropical Storm Marco. But Laura is about to hit. It is Wednesday. What time is it? It's Wednesday at about noon, and Hurricane Laura is supposed to make landfall this afternoon, tonight. So I decided to vlog during the hurricane. I was charging my Kindle all last night and also charging my backup battery packs so that I wouldn't run out of power for my Kindle, hopefully. And I'm at my mom's right now because one of the risks for hurricanes is losing power. So normally, if you don't have a generator yourself, you go to some place that does have a generator. My parents do. And so I'm over here. I brought a couple of physical books. Most of them are some of the historicals that I received through eBay, so I'm really excited. I might get to those, but we don't know. Anyway, the books that I'm going to be vlogging are The Bride by Julie Garwood and Emerald Blaze. Those two definitely, I'm pretty sure that I can knock those out. I already did start The Bride, and then Emerald Blaze just came out, so I am so excited to read this one. We did a podcast on Sapphire Flames, and we have one scheduled for next month for Emerald Blaze, so I'm really excited to read it. I love Catalina, love Alessandro, and this is one of the few times that I put a book directly on the podcast, because on the podcast we only do positive reviews. But I know that I love Ilona Andrews' writing. The Andrews. I know that I love their writing, and I just put it in the podcast automatically. They get a free pass from me. I know that I'm gonna love it, so hopefully I didn't just jinx it, but I'm pretty sure I will. If my Kindle's still going strong, I'm gonna look and see what I have on there. Oh, you know what? I should probably tackle some of the books on my August TBR that I put on there. I don't know. I'm a mood reader. We'll see. We'll see what I want to read besides that. But yeah, I'm gonna take you through a hurricane, guys. So a little bit about being in a hurricane. Like I said, you could potentially lose power. We are in the pretty South Louisiana, so storm surge is always something to worry about, but we normally just have flooding just for normal rainfall because our drainage sucks so bad. So we'll see how that goes. But one interesting thing is that I know this is very weird, but hurricanes kind of remind me of my grandfather, who recently passed away, because my grandfather would build airboats, and I'll pop a picture of an airboat right here in case you've never heard of an airboat before. But these boats are really special because they can go on both land and water. That's how they're designed. And you might have seen, what is that? It's like CSI Miami or something. I believe that they have an airboat going through like the marsh or whatever. Anyway, we have a lot of those in Louisiana, and my grandfather always, when we had a hurricane and we were going to be impacted, he always had his like lines of airboats ready to go assist anybody who was stranded or in need of help and didn't evacuate. So being in a hurricane always reminds me of him. I've been through quite a few hurricanes in my lifetime. Katrina, which we weren't really affected by, it was more New Orleans, but Hurricane Rita and Ike and Lily, yeah, I've been through all of those. We've lost power, and losing power is not fun, guys, but everyone came out safe through it, and we're just kind of used to this. Another thing was that Laura was category 2. Yesterday she was a category 3, and now they're predicting that she's a category 4, which gives you a limited time to evacuate. So they just upgraded her to a category 4. It's unpredictable, and it could downgrade just like Marco. It went up to a hurricane, downgraded to depression before it hit us, and we barely got any mist from it. So you just never know. You just never know. Anyway, I think earlier I said I was reading The Bride by Julie Garwood, which I already read that. Jessen. Anyway, I'm gonna go make sure that there's nothing else that needs to be done right now, and then I'll come update you on what I think of the book so far. Since I'm almost halfway done, I want to sit down and talk about this book a little bit. Alright, so let's talk about Ransom. I did look it up, and The Secret, which is the first of this series, was published in 1992, and Ransom, the second book in the series, was not published until 2002, so a huge gap. I don't know what else she was writing between this series, but I'm just really excited to get back to this world. I really enjoyed the characters from The Secret. It's no secret, pun intended. It wasn't intended. That wasn't planned. The Secret, it's no secret that I love The Secret. Ian and Judith are just, I love them together. I love the types of heroines that Julie Garwood creates, and the heroine of Ransom is no exception. I really enjoy Jillian. Julie Garwood tends to create heroines who are these soft, guileless women who nonetheless have this steel of spine. They get shit done. They protect people, and I just really love it. They're also a little bit naive, especially when it comes to, the bedroom and sexuality. They're pretty naive in that regard, but it makes for some funny situations, I can't lie, because a lot of her heroes are like these broody, don't talk about my feelings types of heroes, and I'm here for it. I love a broody hero. In Ransom, our hero is Broderick, and he is from the first book, The Secret. Like I said before, he's this gruff, scowly man that Judith wrapped around her finger by the end of The Secret. And I think this is about 8 years after the end of The Secret, because they do mention further in the novel that Broderick had gone to England. At the end of The Secret, they mentioned that Broderick and Ramsay wanted to go to England to go find a woman like Judith. And this is about 8 years later in present day. Ransom starts with a prologue, and our heroine Jillian is just a little girl. She's about like 3 or 5, between that age. And she has this older sister named Kristen. They're woken up in the middle of the night, and their father is trying to get them out of the keep because it is getting attacked, and there's this jeweled box that he wants Kristen to take and keep secret, and there's like this big mystery surrounding this box. It had belonged to like the king's mistress, but the keep is being attacked, and there's some secret passageways in the keep, so the girls are able to go through the secret passageway, but unfortunately there's an accident. They trip and fall, and it was so heart-wrenching because Jillian thought that she like killed her sister, and they were like kind of fighting over the box because she also wanted to hold it too. And they get separated. Her lady's maid finds her because they get Jillian and the soldier who is escorting her get captured. The lady's maid sees Jillian and kind of protects her, and Jillian unfortunately witnessed the death of her father. The lady's maid later tells her that Kristen, her sister, is not dead like Jillian thinks, but that she got away and she's hiding. So then we have a time jump, and it says it's 14 years later. So this is why I was a little bit confused, because we're in the point of view of Ramsay, and it starts off in his point of view, and I knew the hero and the heroine's name, and I was like, I'm so confused. Is this going to be a double story, like 2 romances told in one book? It's not, but we open with Ramsay because he now has custody of his younger brother Michael, and they barely know each other. There's a huge age gap between there, and Michael wants to go play. He's a little bit afraid of his older brother, and Ramsay's like, yeah, go play. And then there's also a woman mentioned, which is another reason why I was confused, Bridget, and she's said to be very beautiful. She keeps turning down the suits proposals that everyone, all the men think she's so beautiful, but she wants to marry for love. And this is important to note because in present day, Jillian hasn't seen her sister since she was little. She and her lady's maid escaped from the keep, and it was Baron Alfred, I think, that took over the keep, and he's just like disgusting, despicable. He's an awful man, and he's a little bit afraid of Jillian, which I find funny. So she's been living with her uncle, who is also a very gruff man, but treated her like a daughter. She really loves him. Hasn't seen her sister. Knows she's somewhere in Scotland, and her uncle discovers that she escaped to the Highlands, and nobody really knows where she is. So that's all the information that Jillian has about her sister Kristen, and she one day wants to find her. Then she's recalled back to Baron Alfred, who is residing in her father's old keep, her old childhood home. It's disgusting. All of his warriors are just awful people, and Alfred is like this drunk and he's just despicable. The next chapter starts off like in the middle of some action where this boy is over a cliff and the rope is about to unravel and this girl is reaching over the side and trying to get to him. And I like it to a certain extent because I think I've said in one of the podcast episodes to Juliet, I kind of like being confused. I like to figure things out. So it took me a little while to realize that Jillian was the one who was reaching out to this boy. We're assuming it's Michael because that's the child that we were introduced to in the beginning. But what happened was Michael went to play with his friends. There was like a festival going on and he was playing with one of his friends. They switched plaids and someone kidnapped the boy who was wearing Michael's plaid. His name's Alec. So this is in the middle of one of their escapes. Jillian was trying to help this little boy escape. She thinks it's Michael. There's a plot against Michael's brother, Ramsey. And Jillian's trying to get him out of a bad situation. He's a little boy. He's scared. He ends up by accidentally going over the cliff because he thinks like that's a better way to get out. She's like afraid of heights. And she goes to get him anyway. They get recaptured. Jillian actually protects him and then they escape. So her whole mission is getting Alec, who she figures out had pretended to be Michael, getting Alec back to his family and also warning Lord Ramsay that there is a plot against him. They want to use Michael as bait to kill him, and there are some traitors. There are some Scottish Highlanders who are feeding the English barons information, especially Baron Alfred. Jillian is also tasked by Alfred to go to the Highlands and find her sister Kristen and find the box. I'm very curious to see what happens with this box because so much has been made of this box. What does it do? So Jillian's plan is to deliver Alec to his family and then go find Kristen. She knows that Kristen is in the Highlands. Baron Alfred also said that his spy in the Highlands told him that Kristen is hiding in Clan McPherson, but they don't know what her name is or, if she really remembers what her original name is anyway, but they want to find her because of the box. I'm only about halfway through the book right now, and the entire journey has been Jillian getting Alec back to his family, meeting Broderick, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I'm assuming that the second half is going to focus more on Kristen because I don't have that information, but I am assuming that the girl that we saw in the beginning, Bridget, is going to be Kristen, and that's what she was renamed whenever she was hiding in the Highlands as a little girl. She was adopted into a family, and Ollie's scratching in the background, but I'm assuming that this is her. Because why else bring her up? It felt random, the way that just one chapter focused on Ramsay and then we brought in this woman who is said to be extremely beautiful, which is also said of Jillian. And yeah, that's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right. Alec has told her about his uncle who had responsibility for Alec during the festival. And the way he talks about his uncle, saying like he's his protector, he's assigned to protect him, and he definitely likes Broderick as a protector because he's mean and his stare is like so powerful that it could split a tree in half. I really love this viewpoint from this child, who we later find out is only 5 years old, which makes his experience even more harrowing. He has a little bit of PSD, he has nightmares, and Jillian has grown to care so much for Alec. They're inseparable. She's trying to teach him manners, which is, I find, so funny. So the next time we see Broderick, he has received this message that someone says that I saw a lady, she talked to me through a window, and she said, she's your bride, and you need to come now, she has some information for you. So Broderick's like, what? So Broderick goes to the chapel where Jillian and Alec are hiding, and is so relieved to find that Alec is not dead. Alec is blurting out all kind of things like, she protected me, the men beat her so that they wouldn't beat me. So Broderick's very intrigued. What is an English lady doing protecting this Highland boy? Like, what does she want? There has to be a purpose. And also, since she claimed that she was his bride, he's like, think you're my bride. I love it. All of his men are on board with her. Like, yeah, we're going to keep her. We like her. Yeah, marry her. So it's very cute. I love their journey. They bicker. Another reason why I really love Julie Garwood's romances is the heroes start falling pretty immediately. There's no real convincing. It's pretty much insta love, at least insta trust between the hero and the heroine when they first meet, and the journey just makes it sweeter. So now that Broderick and Gillian have returned Alec to Ian and Judith, now I think the story's going to turn and focus more on Kristen and the plot with the Baron, the evil Baron, Alfred. So I'm excited to continue to read this. Hopefully I'll finish it by tonight. If I don't have power, we'll see how I'll film this because of lighting. We do expect that this hurricane is going to hit pretty hard with the wind, so we're gonna be boarding up all the windows because of wind. So we'll see the lighting situation that we have. If we have power, no big deal. I'll continue to film like normal. If we don't have power, then yeah, I might not be able to film until the morning. Ollie, you ready? He's ready to like snuggle. He's like over today. He's like, there's been too much activity, too many things going on. He's like such a cuddle bear. I call him a cuddle bear all the time. Hey guys, coming to you from the kitchen. We have Claudia. As you take a big bite.
Yeah, perfect timing.
This is a hurricane party. Hey guys, it is Thursday the 27th and I'm a little bit of a hot mess. I thought about fixing myself up, but I was just like, I'm too exhausted for that. So I'm a terrible vlogger. I had every intention of recording more during the hurricane, but let me tell you how my night went. Parents and my youngest sister, Aubrey, decided she wanted to sleep in the same room. So I went to bed around like 11. And at around midnight, a little after midnight, my phone started going off because we had an alert for a tornado warning. Now, to understand how scary that is for me, we don't live in an area that's prone to tornadoes. Every once in a while when we get a bad weather system, just a regular bad weather system, we'll get tornado warnings, but I'm like deathly afraid. Tornadoes, we really don't have in Louisiana. We can't have basements. The ground is marsh. You cannot dig a basement. You will have a sinkhole. We don't really have rooms built for tornadoes or anything. So, to me, a tornado is unpredictable. You don't know where it's going to go. You don't know if it's going to pop up or not. And Hurricane Laura hit in the middle of the night, which makes it harder to spot tornadoes. So I was understandably extremely worried about tornadoes. Could not go to sleep after that. Every time the time period for that warning would run out, another one directly. It was like, warning again, we're still gonna watch. At first it was like, we're only gonna watch until 12:45. 12:45 hit. It was like, oh, 1:15 hit. Oh, another tornado warning. So it was like, my anxiety was building up so much. And I was up. I was actually pretty much the only member of my family awake during this. Aubrey slept through the entire thing. She never woke up. I actually sat down on the ground and I was pulling the mattress kind of halfway off the bed to prepare to cover ourselves with the mattress in case I heard a tornado coming, which, guys, if you've never been in a hurricane before, very hard to distinguish between normal howling, rattling winds and possible noises for tornadoes. I've never heard one before, so I was just like, so anyway, there was no recording during that time. I actually didn't get a ton of reading done in the middle of the night. I thought if I was up and couldn't go to sleep, I'd read Ransom, and I was so anxious that I couldn't. I was just on Twitter scrolling the Weather Channel, watching these crazy people who actually like went to Lake Charles, and I'm talking about, you know, people who work for the Weather Channel and also other storm chasers. I would never. I'm so glad that we didn't get hit by the eye wall. We would have evacuated if the eye was actually coming towards us, but we're 2 hours east of Lake Charles. We're 2 hours west of New Orleans and 2 hours east of Lake Charles. We're right in the middle and pretty coastal in Louisiana. But anyway, we didn't evacuate. It's very expensive to actually evacuate, which I don't think a lot of people realize when they're like, why didn't they evacuate? Sometimes it's like impossible for people to evacuate, even if it's mandatory. But anyway, so I didn't get a lot of reading done. I fell asleep around 5 o'clock that morning. It was kind of winding down at that point. And then I woke up this morning and I read, but I was so exhausted. I was like, I don't want to be on camera. I was like, I'm so tired. So I did finish Ransom. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Braddock he's just like those alpha heroes, but he's not an asshole. I liked how the plot with the sister unfolded. It was a little unexpected, but I liked it. And I like how the plot with the missing jewelry box unfolded as well. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but I really liked it. It's still my second favorite. Yeah, probably my second favorite. I'd probably rank the Julie Garwoods that I've read as The Secret, Ransom, The Bride, Castles. I also have The Wedding on my Kindle that I could read. But I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from historical. First of all, I have this book right here, Emerald Blaze. I brought it with me and I'm going to be starting this. We actually are recording the podcast for Emerald Blaze next week anyway, so this is a good time to start reading it. It just came out. I've been avoiding spoilers like the plague. I saw someone post in the podcast Facebook group, The Swoon Zone, saying something about Alessandro, but I just quickly scrolled past it because it's I don't want to read it. What if it's spoilery? So anyway, I'm going to start this book and I'll update you a little bit. But we might be doing some more cleanup today. I'm excited, really excited for this book. Hey guys, I'm getting settled in. I'm 2 chapters into Emerald Blaze and I can't express how phenomenal of a writer or writers Ilona Andrews are. How do you refer to writer duos? Husband and wife duo, the Andrews, they are amazing. It's action-packed. This book really starts off and just really immerses you in the world. I love this. Hidden Legacy series is one of my favorite series of all time. And yeah, it's one of the best urban fantasy romances. And I love the way that 3 books were dedicated to Nevada and Rogan. And now we have Catalina and Alessandro. The story doesn't get stale, doesn't drag on too long. And I'm so excited to see where Catalina and Alessandro are heading. So a little recap from Sapphire Flames. There's a few things. So if you've not read Sapphire Flames, there's going to be spoilers. So you might want to skip this vlog. At the end of Sapphire Flames, Catalina realized that she was in love with Alessandro, and we know that Alessandro is dealing with some sort of assassin thing going on that's hidden. He doesn't talk about it. He's very cagey about what he does, what his purpose is. And she goes to tell him that she's in love with him, and he is packing to leave. So this is devastating to Catalina. She ends up by not telling him that she's in love with him. And she also has this added burden of being appointed the deputy of Texas. So Linus from Sapphire Flames, we did briefly see him at the end of Nevada and Rogan's arc. He's very powerful mage, and he is the secret he's the secret warden of Texas, and he appointed Catalina, she's very young, to act as his deputy. She has to keep this from her family, and it's a big responsibility. It means she takes on these cases, and their whole goal is to to recover these Osiris serum vials. The Osiris serum kicked off the evolution of humankind to include mages, and that's why there's magic in the world. And these vials are dangerous because people are experimenting with it, trying to recreate the power that mages have in order to boost mages who have significantly less power than the primes in the world, which Rogan is a prime, Catalina is a prime. I think her designation is Siren, though she really doesn't like the name because she has, like, people grow obsessed with her. But she's learned how to control it. She's now the head of House Baylor, so she has a lot of responsibility going in. And I'm 15% of the way in. It's phenomenal. The prologue, we get a little glimpse of Alessandro, even though he's not mentioned by name. There's a man called, something with an L. I want to call him Linus, but it's not Linus. But his last name's Morton. He is grieving because his son was recently murdered, and he wants this wolf. He wants to hire this wolf to figure out what happened to his son. And he's afraid of this man and also afraid that he's not going to take the case. And so we get a glimpse of this wolf through Morton's eyes, and we assume it's Alessandro. And at the start of chapter 1, we move on to Catalina. We catch up with the group. They are in the middle of this investigation. They're trying to find this lost monkey, and they're butting heads with M2, and M2 is their rival investigation agency. They're much bigger, and usually their paths don't cross too much, but I love Augustine. I'm wondering if he's going to get a book or something. Kind of similar to how Hugh gets a book. Not that Augustine's a villain. He could be. I still suspect that Augustine could quite possibly be the villain. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I really have no clue. Usually I'm pretty good at, like, predicting who's the villain. Linus is a contender, but I'm just like, I don't know if it's Linus. Yeah, Augustine, possible. Don't know. But we learn that it's been 6 months since Alessandra has left, since she's been appointed the deputy warden of Texas. And during this case, they take control of the case from M2. They had, like, the prior claim. It was all wrapping up nicely. This confrontation was de-escalated. I do have to mention that Ilona Andrews are so good at making these secondary characters like my favorite characters. Leon, the cousin who's like, he's like a sharpshooter. He thought he was a dud for the longest time, and finally he found his talent. And Leon cracks me up. I really love him. I want everyone to get a book. He needs somebody to tame him. He's wild. Anyway, after they are wrapping up this case, they're attacked by these monsters. They come out of nowhere. They come, like, from the river, and they have a hard time killing these monsters, and there's some sort of element controlling them in the middle, and Catalina takes a look at it, and it looks like mechanical, like biomechanical. There's this, like, melding of metal and plant that looks seamless, and so that's this big mystery. And so she calls Linus, and Linus tells her to go to M2, which is the other agency, which Augustine owns, and to take over the Morton case. So that's the name that we heard in the prologue, the Morton case. So Catalina immediately goes, and she walks into Augustine's office knowing that she's about to reveal that she is the deputy warden of Texas. And this is like, you're giving Augustine information, and it could potentially be dangerous. So I don't know. So she walks in and she plays her hand so that she can take control of this Morton investigation. She finds out that there's this, like, sort of like business deal going around. There's, like, a consortium that was formed between a couple of the houses, 4 houses, and they're trying to develop the area of Houston that everyone refers to as the Pit. And we saw the Pit in Nevada, and Rogan's book, they go there. It's like a swampy area, and that's where Bug used to live. And it's just, like, full of creatures. People, like, been dumping waste, biohazardous waste in there, and it's just a very dangerous part of town, and all the buildings and stuff are just, like, sunken in there. So they're trying to develop this, like, take back this area of Houston, and that's where Morton's son Felix was killed. So now Catalina is taking charge of the investigation, and she's acting as point instead of Augustine. And when she walks into this boardroom, she immediately analyzes all 4 of these prime mages in the room that are in charge of this project. I really love it. You can see the growth of Catalina. She's like nobody's fool anymore. It's only been 6 months, but she's been hardened. Don't forget that at the end of Sapphire Flames, which is really important, she made a deal with Victoria Tremaine. Basically for Victoria Tremaine to kind of train her, take her under her wings, let her know what she needs to do to become a head of house. The reason why she did it was to save Alessandro in Sapphire Flames, but she's going to use the information that Victoria is giving her. Hopefully to one day defeat her. Because she's manipulative and she's very self-interested. So she's definitely going to be a problem in book 3. If she's not going to be a problem at the end of book 2. I don't think so yet. She's hardened. She was a little bit unsure of her position as head of house in Sapphire Flames, but now she's like, no, I've been dealing with a lot of, very high profile cases over the last 6 months with Linus, and she's more confident. She wants to appear very like vulnerable to these primes. Like her designation as a mage is unknown because her records are sealed, so nobody knows what she can do. And she wants to use it to her advantage and be like, oh, I'm just this silly little pretty girl. Don't mind me. I'm gonna investigate you. Don't worry about it. Alessandro walks in. Guys, it like really got me because I could feel the like heart pounding, just like, why are you coming back into my life just as I was like getting back to normal, just as I was accepting that I will never see you again, that you kind of used me to your own advantage. I fell in love with you and you obviously weren't in love with me, and now you're back in town. Now you're dredging up all these feelings, and it was so perfect. And he's so hot. I can just, he's beautiful. This Italian Instagram model boy walking in, and he's going to take over as Morton's, he's going to be Morton's proxy for the whole investigation, basically, to look after his interest. So now Catalina and Alessandro have to work together, and I know that it's going to be so hard on Catalina, and I hope that whatever his explanation is, wherever he's been these last 6 months, I just don't know what's going to happen, what kind of conversation they're going to have. But she seems determined to act professional and not let him know how much he hurt her. He's breaking my heart. It's chef kiss perfect. I love this. It's going to be amazing. Alessandro, you have a lot of explaining to do, boo. I feel like I can't stop smiling about this book. Seriously. It's just so good. I love, the pacing does not let up. There's a perfect amount of plot, magic-driven plot that has to do with the Osiris serum, and also personal stakes and relationships, and just so many things going on. So, I'm so surprised by how Alessandro's reappearance is going. The conversation that he and Catalina are able to have, first of all, he has a ton of information about the plot and the big bad that's happening, like right off the bat. And I'm talking about like soon after the meeting with all 4 primes in charge of the pit. We find out that he knows a lot of information, and one of the things is that there's this new big bad. His name is Arcan, and I don't know if he's going to be the big bad for this book, or if he's going to continue to be a threat into the 3rd book. I don't know, because there's some information that he gives Catalina about that. But we do know that Catalina and Linus are both a target. Arcan is well aware that Catalina and Linus are deputy and warden of Texas, and there's something going down. Probably has to do with the Osiris serum, as Alessandro has informed them. But the conversation that Alessandro and Catalina have in the car as he's driving her home, this man is driving me insane. He is a lot different from the Alessandro from book 1 in the best way possible. He is a lot more honest, and you can tell that during the course of this book, Alessandro is going to have to prove himself to Catalina, and I think he needs to. She deserves to be pursued and groveled to, and I think Alessandro is going to do a phenomenal job. I've learned more about Alessandro during the course of this conversation than we've learned in the whole book of Sapphire Flames It's amazing. I'm really liking Catalina as a heroine, and I really like how different she is from Nevada. I also like there was a bonding moment between Nevada and Catalina, and it was just really nice. And I like how Nevada didn't want to like undermine Catalina's authority while she was like laying down the law. She just wanted to check in with Catalina, make sure she was okay, and she waited until Catalina went in her room, and they just had a nice little sisterly chat. I love it. I love it. Of course, it's not an Ilona Andrews book without some phenomenal action scenes. Throughout the course of this story, Alessandro and Catalina have to go meet with each of the 4 primes involved with the Pit Project. They have to meet one-on-one so they can rule out each person as the killer of Felix. They run into some problems, especially going meet the first person at the pit. There's a really interesting scene about what's going on in the pit and what possible information that Felix had that maybe one of the other members didn't want getting out. There's a scene between Catalina and this thing in the pit, and I'm just like fascinated. I have no idea what's going on, but like I'm not lost. Does that make sense? The mystery is compelling, and I'm here for it. I have no predictions on what's going on, but I'm just like along for the ride, and I think that's why I like Ilona Andrews' book so much, is I always feel like I'm just like, take me on this journey, and I never truly overthink what's about to happen or going to happen. The only thing that really occupies my mind is like, oh, are they going to confess how they really feel now? You know, I don't know. The whole mystery magic plot, it's all just like, yes, just tell me about this and I know I'll love it. So it's just been going really well. And you can see Catalina's defenses with Alessandro kind of breaking down. I think it's reasonable for her to have some weak moments, and hopefully eventually he will give her enough of an explanation and she will want to listen and forgive him, because she has to forgive him. This is an HEA, guys. I bet, because this is the pattern that Ilona Andrews followed in the first 3 books, I bet that by the end of this book there'll be a couple, and then the next book we won't have to worry so much about romantic conflict. The Osiris Serum overarching plot will be the main focus, and we'll wrap that up in the 3rd book, if it's not going to be carried on into Arabella's book. But anyway, I'm loving it so far. I have nothing bad to say. Nothing bad to say. It's amazing. Guys, I just finished this. It's so good. I read it on my Kindle though. Yes, I am the crazy person who, not crazy. But I am the person to double up on copies. I have the physical copy here, which I didn't read the physical copy. I wanted to preserve the nice, beautiful spine for my collection, because it's my favorite series of all time. And even though I love paperback books, I did not want to mess it up. So I chose to read it on my Kindle. Anyway, this book was so good. I'm so satisfied. 5 stars. 5 stars. I just knew it. I knew it was going to be 5 stars. I'm not disappointed with anything that happened. It was phenomenal. Also, I don't think I mentioned this, other side character, Runa from Sapphire Flames, and she was also in Diamond Fire, which is a novella, transition novella between Nevada's story and Catalina's story. Runa plays a little role in here. I love her. She's so cute. Her and Byrne have this little secret thing going on. It's really funny how that, how the whole family pretty much knows that something's going on with them, but they just kind of like ignore it. Also, the romance, me and Juliet and I talked about the romance between, what is her real name? I don't know. The Baylor mom, Catalina's mom. She has this romance going on with Rogan's head of security, Hart. And I'm just like, can we get a novella with them? I need to see them happy. I need to see her mom find love again, because the Baylor's father has passed away and it's been many years. I just want her to have an HEA too. It's so good. I love it. This is like perfect. So, note, I'm not going to spoil this. I'm not going to spoil this. What's wrong, buddy? Come here. He's being like so needy right now. I will say that it's been hinted at in Sapphire Flames, and also this book, Nevada brings it up pretty early on in the book, saying that we don't know what Alessandro's hiding, but yeah, Rogan wants you to be careful, whatever. We do find out a secret about Alessandro, and I wasn't expecting it. It makes sense, and I loved it. Yes, satisfied. Love. And the third book, I don't know what's going to happen in the third book, but I can't wait until next year when I'm reading it. So that's the end of this reading vlog. Sorry I didn't update you that much during the hurricane. I was too stressed. But I'm really glad that this was the book that I read after the hurricane passed. It was just like, yes, this is what I needed. Thank you. And I will probably be filming either on Saturday or Sunday an August wrap up of all the books that I read. I'm gonna go a little bit in depth into one of the books that I reviewed during my arc, because I have some more to say, spoilery, in that review, and I will let y'all know that spoilers are coming in that video. I'll like put a little thing at the bottom. But anyway, so I'm gonna do that video. Be looking out for that. I can't believe it's already almost September. Only read about like half the books that I predicted I would in August in my August TBR, so I don't know. I don't know what books I'm going to put on the September TBR. I'm going to have to think about that. So you'll probably only be getting an August wrap-up video on like Monday. Alright guys, that's all that I have for you today. And if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's completely free, and like this video. You'll be notified on any future videos that I do. I will be doing an August wrap-up, maybe a separate video for my September TBR, because I only read half of the books that I predicted in August. I knew I was going to slow down in the fall. I wasn't going to read as many books that I have been in the past few months. And so I don't know what books I'm going to put on the September TBR. We'll see. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. And remember, life's better with a little HEA. Bye, guys.